The next general section of the BACB's Guidelines for Responsible Conduct pertains to behavior analysts who provide services within the workplace. Guideline 6.0 states, the behavior analyst adheres to job commitments, assesses employee interactions before intervention, works within his or her scope of training, develops interventions that benefit employees, and resolves conflicts within these guidelines. 6.0, the behavior analyst in the workplace. Behavior analysts fulfill their agreements to their employer and adhere to the laws or regulations of our profession. Honoring their commitments to their employers includes doing their job in a competent manner, agreeing to non-compete clauses, and avoiding conflicts with other employees, the employer, or with these guidelines. Furthermore, behavior analysts develop interventions that are well thought out, benefit both the employee and management, and enhance the well-being of employees. The following is a list and description of the 6 subsections of Guideline 6 of the BACB's Guideline for Responsible Conduct. 6.01 Job Commitments. As with most jobs, behavior analysts honor their commitments to their employer. Such agreements may include a minimum amount of time spent as an employee of the company, a minimum number of hours of service per week, not going to work for a competitor during the agreed-upon time committed to the company or agency, performing certain types and quality of work while employed by the company, and adhering to the laws and ethics of the profession. 6.02 Assessing Employee Interactions. This particular guideline pertains to behavior analysts working in business or work settings. In this role, the behavior analyst is often asked how they can improve the performance of employees in business or work settings. Similar to how behavior analysts might approach working with a single client with serious developmental delays, the behavior analyst working in this capacity would start by assessing the interaction between the behavior of an employee or employees and the environment in which they work. Behavior analysts working in the capacity first want to ensure that the environment is conducive to maximal output by the employees. An ethical behavior analyst will take into consideration issues related to why there may be a lack of production, for example, high levels of noise or stress, faulty equipment, as well as the safety and factor issues. The behavior analyst will take these into account and/or bring them to the attention of the employer. Once this has been addressed, the behavior analyst can look for ways to improve the output of employees. This may be done by changing the way employees are paid. That is, employee compensation that is based on production. For example, when an employee meets a certain goal production, they earn a predetermined amount for that production. Another way to increase employee production is to use disincentives for poor production. 6.03 Preparing for Consultation. As we have stated previously, behavior analysts only consult or provide services related to behavior management in specific areas for which they have been trained and have experience. For example, a behavior analyst who is well trained and has many years of experience working with children with autism and related disorders may not necessarily have the training or experience to provide behavioral consultation for a company or industry that manufactures wheelchairs for disabled veterans. One of the more important guidelines discussed throughout this presentation pertains to behavior analysts being well trained and having sufficient experience in their specific area of interest. 6.04 Employees' Interventions. Behavior analysts working as consultants within the workplace should ensure that an intervention they propose will benefit both the employer and the employee. There will be times when the behavior analyst finds himself facing the ethical dilemma of doing what's in the best interest of the employer who retained their services and the employees whose behavior they have been hired to change. The ethical behavior analyst will never endanger employees in order to increase the bottom line of the employer. 6.05 Employee Health and Well-Being. Any relatively skilled behavior analyst can design and implement a set of contingencies and schedules of reinforcement to increase employee production. The ethical and knowledgeable behavior analyst develops interventions that both enhance the health and well-being of employees and increase their production without putting them at risk for illness or injury. The long-term effects of placing employees at risk for illness or injuries is likely to negate any short-term increases in production. 6.06 Conflicts with organizations. If and when the demands of the organization that retain the services of the behavior analyst conflict with these guidelines, the behavior analyst must first verify the nature of the conflict, making known their commitment to these guidelines, and resolve the conflict in a manner that adheres to these guidelines.